Can he? Yeah, I'm not made of wood. Like best side. Yeah. Go for it.
Right, thank you very much once again for coming. We thought we'd run just an informal night for a bit of advice for lads on sea trout fishing on the Clwyd. It's a bit of a sort of specialist river, I think, because it always carries a bit of colour. So there's two thoughts really how it does. Neil Dalrymple's not here tonight, but he tends to favour fishing too dark, and some guys fish well into dark. So Shaun from Foxton's Tackle Shop, as we all know, is here to answer questions for you. He does particularly well on the Clwyd, so we thought we'd pick his brain, to be honest. Ask any questions you like as we roll on. It's very informal, very open. No such thing as a silly question. Yeah, David, so crack on, son. It'll be 5 minutes. So, Shaun, welcome. Thank you very much for coming.
Nice one, Shaun, thanks.
Okay. Right, any questions? I haven't got anything planned or anything to say, so just fire them at me, whatever.
Well,
ask.
I'll start if you like. Just if you could run through your sort of basic tackle setup, starting with a rod.
Yeah.
Type of rod you like, action you like,
Yeah.
and we'll work from there through fly lines, through leaders.
Yeah, I tend to use a 9 foot fly rod for a 6-weight line. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, just nice enough size to cast, you know, the flies you need to cast. And a sort of softish action rod. You don't want anything too stiff, otherwise you'll just pull out. Sea trout, especially fresh ones, they're very soft mouths, so you want something with a bit of flex in it. And for casting on the rivers, you're not having a lot of line out the rod, so you need a soft rod to feel the rod working, because you're not getting the length of the head of the line out to actually get the rod loaded. So a soft rod is better for that sort of thing as well. Leader setup, line. I mean, I tend to use a floating line with a little 3 foot midge clear tip on it, just to get it down a little bit. Just takes a bit of wake off the line. Leader's not too long. Generally use I normally do sort of that length to my dropper, and that sort of length. I never measure it. Just go on the look of it. If it looks right, that's good enough for me. Always fish 2 flies generally. Breaking straight the leader is £13 on the tippet, £15 at the butt end, but it's a very thin fluorocarbon leader, so it's pretty thin. It's about the diameter of 8-pound Maxima, which I'm sure most of you will know. Maxima is good, reliable line, and that's what I tend to use. It's thin, strong, does the job, gets your flies back if you get them in trees, which no doubt you generally will. We all do. If you're not catching trees, you're generally not fishing far enough, and that's more or less it really.
You mentioned fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
What's your favourite knot for fluorocarbon? Because you have to be a bit more careful with your knot.
Yeah, I use a little knot. I think it's called a Davy Button knot. It was an old boy come in the shop and showed me this knot, and it's dead simple. I can tie it at night without even putting the light on. You can just I don't have to get at the river, go up on the bank, put a torch, and I can literally do it with feel. It's a simple little knot. I'll show you anyway. I'll come round and show you, some of my stuff and my setup and everything like that. But yeah, it's a dead simple knot. You can use blood knots. It's fluorocarbon. It's funny. Some people get on with it, some people don't. But I generally use it because it's stiffer as well. It turns the flies over a bit better.
Yeah,
and it's generally a lot thinner, and it sinks quicker than mono once it's brought to surface.
You mentioned fly lines. Any particular make you like? I know you to advertise a particular make.
Yeah, well, I use a Rio line.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're generally pretty tough lines.
The honest lines.
The tapers are good on them, and yeah, and they just do that 3 foot tip, which not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So it's I think if you're using a longer tip, it's because the river's so small. If you're anything, 5 foot at the most, I think is as much as you'd want really.
On your leader, do you use coloured fluorocarbon at all? Fluorocarbon tends to be clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some guys don't mind the Maxima, the dark Maxima. Some people ultra green.
Yeah, I used to use Maxima an £8, but I just
no preference at all. Some do, some don't.
No, it's I've just gone onto the fluorocarbon because it's the same diameter as £8 Maxima, but it's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So you've got the breaking strain behind you, but the thinness, so it swims the flies a lot better in the water than having something. If you use £15 Maxima, it's a lot thicker. The fly's not going to swim the same. Your line's not going to cut through the water the same to get your flies down a little bit. So that's.
Okay. So while we're talking about flies, what sort of patterns and sizes? Sizes maybe more particular.
I tend to use more tube flies
Yeah.
on than anything on the point, and a muddler on the dropper. Little single sort of 6s, 8s, 10s,
Yeah.
that sort of size.
Yeah.
But they can, occasionally if that's not working, it's always worth trying a big surface lure on the top. That generally wakes them up if nothing's happening.
Is that on the dropper at the surface?
No, if I go for a surface lure, I generally take the dropper off and put it on the point.
Then
Yeah.
you leave the muddler on the dropper?
No, I'll take it off.
Oh, right,
Generally, yeah. If I got a big fly on, because once you go to a big fly, ideally you'd want an 8 weight would cast it better, because it's a big heavy fly once it gets waterlogged as well, to tie that deer hair, so it'll soak a lot of water into it, and it gets a bit heavy then. So, a 6er will cast it if your leader's the right setup, but like say the stiffer fluorocarbon will turn it up a better as well.
And how do you fish a surface lure? You just
Straight across the river and pull it back pretty quick. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
they're
you
quite
want it.
difficult to cast.
They
aren't
are difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is awkward. Yeah, but.
So you just get it out as far as you can and then bring it
Right,
back.
right. Yeah, generally, if you've got a big enough pool
Yeah.
with a nice tail on it,
Yeah.
and it'll swing. Generally, when the river's low, it hasn't got enough pull to pull the fly around. So I normally chuck it square across and figure of 8 the fly back pretty quick. Get it. You don't want it skating too much on the top. You want it just under a little bit, really. Because I think if it's, the old flies are like side of cork
Yeah.
and foam and whatever and stuff like that, and you do get a lot of fish come up for them, but I think with them being right on the top, right buoyant, the fish, the sort of the presence of the fish coming up just pushes the fly away from you. You get loads of swirls and takes at it, but I think in my eyes they seem to push the fly away. That's probably why you're getting loads of takes and lashes at the fly, and they're not really hooking on it. So the fly tied out of deer hair will just hang in the surface film and just sort of, the fish don't seem to push it away that much. I think they come up and take it a lot better,
Just to go back to droppers, briefly, you say you always fish a dropper as I do.
Yeah.
Some people don't like using droppers for
Yeah.
fear of losing fish.
Yeah.
I feel you definitely catch more fish with a dropper.
Yeah,
Would you say the
I've
same?
never, I don't use them for salmon. It's funny, I've
No,
never
yeah.
used them for salmon. I never think I do, but I've never lost a fish on the dropper. I
No.
can say that. Yeah, it's
There's always a risk of it snagging up the other
on
one.
the Clewy. That's probably the worst river you can fish for.
touch
Because it's a bit snaggy and a lot of trees and branches in it and stuff. So, but yeah, no, I've never. On some nights I've had 2 or 3 fish on the dropper and nothing on the point. It's just
Yeah, I'd recommend fishing droppers, guys.
Sorry.
Any idea why the dropper is more important than the point fly?
I don't know really. It's just it's just giving yourself a doubling your chances really. Some nights depending on the temperature of the water, I think the fish will come up. Most of the time I'll fish a muddler on the dropper. It's not on the top, but it's just under a little bit. And I think the presence of the fly, with it being quite a big-headed fly on it, it just creates a bit of presence in the water, and I think the fish pick up on that. So it tends to do well, not only on the top but underneath as well.
A friend of mine fishes droppers a lot. He's of the opinion that it moves a lot more. If you've got a point fly down a bit, like an anchor, it wiggles a lot more. So
Right,
you get a lot more movement on a dropper.
I never thought of that, but it's certainly
Definitely worth doing.
yeah. Well, you're just doubling your chances. Put two different flies on, than fishing just one. It is a bit more awkward, but once you get into it, it's
Any more questions on tackle? Setups to set. All happy? Talk a bit
I
about
think-
tactics if you want to go on.
yeah. I think with sea trout as well, if you're going to start, I think there's no substitute for fishing the river in the day. You've got to know the water and know how deep it is where you're fishing. I mean, we do a lot of river work myself and get in the river. You know how deep it is for the sake of an afternoon being in the river and knowing the beach and fishing it in the day. Well, a few days you need to fish it to get to know it, how you fly fishes in a certain pool. There's no substitute for that. You've got to, because when the lights go out at night, it's completely different. You might think you know it after a few times of fishing it, but it's completely different at night. Brilliant, but you just need to, know the river. That's the main. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
With sea trout fishing at night, anyway, it's knowing where you are,
Yeah, definitely.
knowing where your flies and how your flies fish, how deep they're going to go, and
Yeah. So if we're going to talk tactics, let's say night fishing on low water, so it's sort of fly fishing at night. When do you start? How dark is dark enough for yourself?
I mean, to be fair, I generally start. I wouldn't go to one of the main pools, you know, before it's got dark. I mean, I've caught a few fish before it got dark in little runs and bits where I'll have a flick through them first, because you just never know. You know, there could be fish in there, and I have caught quite a few fish before it's got dark. Not light, but just that sort of twilight time. And it's it can, you know. But I wouldn't go to a good pool before it's got really dark. Yeah. You're better off leaving it. You might catch odd fish in it, but I think if you leave it, you know, until it's gone dark, you'll catch more. You know, I mean, if you catch 4 or 5 fish out of a pool, you probably, even if there's a lot more fish in it, it's gonna be spoiled by then anyway with the fish turning around. So.
Sorry, on that, I've heard of red books in the past. The fish tend to be in the runs during the daytime and they drop back towards the tail of the pool in the
they'll be up in.
True, is it?
Yeah, they'll be up in. I think more. If you go to the river in the day, I mean, the Clwyd, you can go to it. You know, I think there's absolutely nothing in it, but they'll be tucked right under the bank in the deeper bits of the pool. And then at night time, if you give them a chance, if you go in there turning in straight away, you know, you're probably not. You're going to unsettle them, and they're not going to come out for a fair bit. You know, after a couple of hours of dark, they'll drop back in the tails of the pools, or they'll start moving up through the pools. You know, just as it's getting dark, you'll see them if you just sit quiet on a bit where, you know, you've got a little weir or some thin water. You'll see them start to push through. So you'll always get, you know, once they start running the river, you'll get fresh fish coming up into the tails anyway. It doesn't mean that the fish in there are going to drop back all the time. You'll get fish coming up and they'll lie in the tails.
Just resting up in the tail.
Yeah, it's a bit more oxygen for them and a bit more sort of flow for them, rather than being, you know, especially if the river's been low for a long time. You know, but they do tend to, if they're in the pools, they'll be tucked, you know, generally right under in the deep bits. You know, unless there's a lot of fish in there, you can sometimes pick them out. You know, if they're back stacked in, you know, I've seen it sometimes that there'll be a lot of fish sort of laid in one pool. You can see the tail end of them, and then they're just working their way right up into the deep bit. But it's not very often you see that.
No.
Yeah.
Do you wade much at night? The Clwyd's quite a silty river.
No, not really. No,
No.
I just getting enough. You know, I mean, where we wade is, but it's mainly for if it's raining or if you do happen to slip in or fall up to your waist or whatever. It's you know. But I never really, I never wade because you're that close to the fish. You know, if you're quiet enough, you can, but you don't need to.
Because there's so much silt, you'll send a lot down below you if you wade too much in the Clwyd.
Yeah, it gets a bit scummy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And when the river's low in the summer, it'll get really scummy and a bit muck on the side. So.
Yeah. Let's have a quick chat about casting angles then.
Yeah.
When you're casting, you said before the surf fluid generally straight across and let it come round low
Yeah.
water. What about if there's a bit more pace in the water?
Yeah, slightly down on the cross. I mean, I never really fish too far down the river.
No, I
It's
mean,
just straight across and get the fly swinging across in front of the fish, rather than, you know, if there's no pace in it, if you chuck it down on the cross, there's not enough pull to pull the flies across. You know, if you start figuring of 80, you're pulling flies upstream, which isn't, you know, you might get the odd ones, but it's not, you know, it's not that productive really. You're better off having them coming across pretty quick and don't give them a chance to think about it. Exactly, yeah. If they see you coming, they've got the time to sort of think.
Do you do a retrieve when you're fishing down across the river, or do you just let
I always
current?
I always strip the flies, you know, figure of 8 pretty quick, or just you know, give it a tweak in, just get them
Give it
working.
a bit of movement.
Yeah.
And it keeps you in direct contact as well then if when they do get old, you're on.
Yeah, figure of 8 is quite good because you're like Craig said, you're in contact all the time with it. As soon as someone hits it, yeah. But yeah, I think you need to work the flies a bit. If it's, you know, if you get a run where there's a bit of pace, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's normally you're fishing the sort of quieter pools, so yeah, you need to give the flies a bit of movement.
Has it got to be proper dark as well? What about moonlight?
If you get a moonlit night, I mean, some of my better nights have been when it has been a big moon, a big full moon, but it's got cloud cover on it, so you can generally see better. You're not lit up like a beacon on the side, but you can see the bank better, so you're fishing better. You can get it where you want it, and you're not, I mean, if you start getting into trees and hooking the bank and stuff like that, it's 5 or 10 minutes, you know, on the bank getting another setup and changing your flies, which is losing your fishing time. It might not seem a lot, but at the end of the night, it can make, you know, little things can make all the difference really if you're just getting a nice routine. But yeah, so them nights are generally better if you know, if it is moonlight, I generally do start earlier, because once the moon gets up, it's, yeah, some of the pools. I mean, on the Clew it's not too bad because you can generally find a little corner where it's not really hitting it. But if it's right on it, then it's, yeah, never done
Fish,
much
when
good.
there's mist on the water, no condensation.
Yeah, mist is, yeah, it's, I've never done too good then. If it's out all night, it's a bit, yeah, it's not that good. But some nights, if you just, you know, it'll just start to come down as it's getting dark, and it can clear after an hour. So just be patient. If you go and you see that, think, oh God, this is going to ruin the night. Just keep at it and just be patient, and then, you know, because sometimes it can clear.
Do you think there's much difference between the traditional wet sea trout flies? Like I've found that the silver butcher gets more takes than the teal, blue and silver now. I don't know, or do they just see a
Yeah,
shadow in
well, it's
the
a
water?
black
Does it
fly,
not
so
really
it's, I mean, my flies are generally black.
Yeah.
I don't use many
Yeah.
blue and silver flies. I mean, saying that, I do use a white muddler occasionally,
Yeah.
you know, to contradict myself a bit, but black flies, I think generally you get a better silhouette.
With
often.
silver, they just see a shadow in the water, yeah.
I don't know, yeah, I mean, it's a good fly, people catch a lot of fish on it, on the blue and silver, but personally I think a black, you know, I always tend to use darker flies myself. All my tubes are black and silver, and most of my singles are, my muddlers are black, apart from the old white one, but yeah, I think it just gives a better, it might look dark to us, but when they're looking up into the relatively light sky, it's, you know, yeah, you can just pick it off, pick the flies a bit
Flies
better.
be bushy flies as well, like a bushy black
Yeah,
panel,
I don't
or
tie them that
just be a
sparse,
normal
yeah.
slimline black panel.
I don't tie them that sparse really, they've got a bit of body to them, yeah. Yeah, I think you want to give them, you know, I generally give them something they can see and make their own mind up then if it's a good or not. At least they've seen it pretty well, you know.
Especially on the Clewy, because it's always carrying a bit of colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from right in summer last year we got so low.
Yeah.
But there's always colour, so it's not like some of the West Wales rivers where it's gin clear. So the
Yeah.
blue and silver work really well then, because the black one might be too obvious. But on the Clewy you need them, a bit of a silhouette, something to go for.
And they're quite big fly. I mean, you know, a small sea trout will take a, you know, a big surface fly. It's surprising. You know, they will take a big fly.
Yeah.
How big are your tube flies that on
The tube flies are about an inch long. Yeah, probably inch and a half with the hair. And
How
all,
simple,
yeah.
just black hair
plain
wing.
plain silver tinsel on it, aluminium tube. Yeah, and black hair wing. I put a little bit of hackle on the front of it just to give it a bit of presence in the water again.
You have jungle cock on all your flies?
Most of them, yeah. I don't think it's, yeah, I don't think it's that essential,
No,
to
maybe
be
not.
honest.
Maybe
Yeah, but it just looks nice and it gives you,
Yeah, and Angler, we both know he swears by jungle cock. You know, we won't have everybody that.
Yeah.
But I think the trouble with that is if you ever,
point often,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but if you have that kind of faith in it, if for some reason you end up with flies that you're not fishing with confidence, you know, if you put all your faith in a certain type or a certain thing,
yeah, confidence is a big,
yeah,
it's a big thing.
It's like yourself with a butcher.
Yeah.
You probably fish it more. You get more to because
Yeah.
you fish it more because
Oh
in your
yeah,
mind you do better on it. So
like last summer I was at Gypsy Lane and I put on a really small, like a 14 silver
Yeah.
butcher, a sea trout fly, and it come like about half an hour before dusk, and I caught one, just a small one. But as I say, I think with those butchers, should you, if the river drops because of the lack of rain, should you move to a smaller size, move from
Not
say
really.
a 10 to a 14?
No, not really, no.
Doesn't make
No,
any
no,
difference.
it doesn't, no. At night it doesn't. No.
Oh yeah. But I've always, I've only really caught on that one, and I've always had a lot of takes on it.
Yeah.
But obviously, like you say, it's if you thinking it's going to work, and you
Yeah,
mess with it with
if you got
time.
confidence in it, I mean, I don't fish anything like that size, anything
Yeah.
small like that really. It's, you know.
But I found that with using that technique, I've only ever had takes about half an hour before or half an hour after dusk. After that, I don't get any
Yeah.
takes.
yeah, you need to go.
You probably need to go up inside, yeah. I mean, they generally say
Always back.
start small at the beginning of the night, that's generally the rule, but
Yeah.
I just put the tube straight on and,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Yeah.
have
And
it.
then you covered then right through out
Yeah.
the night to get takes.
Yeah, I don't change that much,
Yeah.
you know, some nights you'll go through the
Yeah.
box a bit, but you
Yeah.
know, if I'm not getting takes, it's just,
Yeah. So the
probably
tactic.
because not many there, maybe,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I've got so much confidence in me.
Yeah.
flies. And
So
that
you'll
is,
set up for the night,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how you'll stay. And if you're hooking
Yeah.
fish, you're hooking them.
yeah.
And if you're not, you're not.
No, I'll change my
You-
flies. I won't change much of my leader setup or the six
You will
tip on the
change
end.
your flies, you
But I
will.
will, yeah, I'll change my flies, yeah. I mean, last year I started using a lot. I mean, saying my flies are mainly all black. I was tying a little wet fly, like a white with a white wing, a white sparkly body, and I did quite well on it, to be fair. And that was on the dropper, and it saved me a couple of nights. It did, you know, I had a week or two where it sort of, yeah, it saved me nights. Yeah,
So when you open, if you were to open your fly box for us to look at now,
yeah.
which I'm quite certain you won't, how many different patterns of flies have you got?
Not many. I've actually emptied a lot of my flies out because you know, it's one of them. We've all got hundreds of flies in our boxes, and we only use the same few. We all do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I carry 2 boxes with me, a box with me singles and muddlers in, and a box with me bigger tubes and bigger surface lures in, and that's it. But I don't have a lot of, you know, I don't tie that many. I just tie what I want, and I'll tie, you know, 3 or 4 at a time, which will probably do me a few nights. You know, you bounce at least 1 or 2 and then just tie a few more. But I don't tie that many. I haven't got hundreds of different patterns. You don't need them, you know.
Any advice on playing fish in the Clwyd? Because we know the Clwyd's quite snaggy, the pools can be small, you have to keep them in the pool sometimes.
Yeah, it's it's funny. It's you just got to do what you do. Yeah, it's hard to explain really, but yeah, some of the bigger fish you just, you know, I've held onto them, and I lost a good one last year, sort of trying to stop it getting under a tree, but knowing that this is a thing of importance of knowing the water where you are, because I haven't been on that beat in the day and fished it in the day or got in it and cleared it. I did the week after mine, once I'd lost the fish, because I knew I could have let it go if I you know, where it was trying to get, I thought it was going into some roots, and I was really trying to stop it, and it just come off, just pulled the hook out, and it was a good one. Probably, yeah, it's depends on the pool. You know, I mean, I generally fish if the pool was sort of length of this room. You know, it'd probably take you 10 or 15 minutes to fish it tidily. You know, making sure you cover.
And then you'd move on.
If I didn't get anything, I'd go through it again. I'd change my fly and go through it again. Yeah, I'd always give it two or three runs through a pool. If I know there's fish in there,
Yeah.
I've seen them jumping or whatever, or you know they're in there from time before. Because once the fish start running the river, you know they're going to be in a certain pool. I'd fish it, you know, 2 or 3 times through with different flies, and if I didn't get anything then I'd move. Yeah.
And after how long, should you, of fishing a pool, should you rest the pool, and how long should you rest it
I never.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just go through it, get back to the top, change my flies, and go through it again. Yeah, as long as you're quiet, as long as you're quiet and you haven't disturbed it much, it's you know, some of the pools are, you know, you've got a high bank and I mean, half the time I'm sort of on my knees casting into it, trying to keep down. Even though it's dark, your silhouette against the skylight, if you're moving around too much, you can, you know, once you upset them, it's you know, they're not on the same mind of taking a fly then, so it's, but you're better off on the high bank if you can get slightly in and along, just creep along it. You're out, even though you think you're closer to the fish, you're sort of out of sight a bit more, as long as you're quiet. So you can keep going down it. You know, if you've had a fish or two out of it, you'll disturb them anyway. You know, after a bit, you might get, if you have a good night and you get 3 or 4 out of a pool, you find the next time down it'll just go quiet then. You know, which is fair enough anyway. You've done what you've done in it.
Do you find when you lose a fish, it's nearly always just after the take? You know, when he comes out.
Yeah, generally, yeah. I think once
they're on.
Yeah, once you've got them on, it's I've never lost many.
Unless you lose them in the back.
Yeah, it's generally either they're on and back splash on the top and then they're off. You know, there's nothing you can do. It's sea trout. You know, it's one of them. Yeah, they're either on or they're not. But generally, once you've got them on, you can generally keep hold of them. Yeah, there's not many I've lost sort of at the net. No. Really.
Casting's a big thing as well. How many times you can go down a pool? If you're a bit rough at your casting, you might just go down once and then moving on.
Yeah, that's
If you steady with your casting and it's gentle, it's good.
Presentation and getting everything. Yeah, you can fish a pool again. You know, 2 or 3 times. Quiet enough. That's the thing. Yeah.
Do you use a net tonight?
A net? Or a gill net?
Yeah, not too far. I always carry a net personally. I don't often use
Yeah, I
it,
carry a net,
but I
yeah.
carry one
Yeah.
in case you need one.
Yeah, no, I always land me fishing in a net.
Yeah, I'll beach him if there's a beach, but
Yeah.
sometimes
No,
the net's
I
handy. When you need a net, you need it badly, I always think.
Yeah, I generally carry a net. It's, yeah, I think it's when they're thrashing around like that. It's and the clue's not too bad because it's generally a bit silty on the side, so it's not like they're thrashing about on rocks.
No.
But yeah, I generally try and get them in the net.
Yeah. Prefer a guy net or one of these folding jobs?
I've got a little folding net with a weigh scale and a handle
Yeah.
on it. So if I get a decent fish and you want to weigh it, you've got it in the net. You're not messing about trying to put it in another bag to weigh it because the least it out of the water if you're going to return it. You know, it's yeah, you just weigh it and put it back in.
Yeah. Any more questions on night tactics?
Oh no, I was going to ask you about fishing in the day actually.
That's next. Funnily
How
enough.
late would you fish?
How late?
Depends if you've got work.
Yeah, yeah. The first,
Yeah, I want fishing there.
so I think through sort of June and June, early July, it's, you know, by the time it gets dark, it's 11 o'clock, half 11, generally some nights. So, you know, as we know, you know, 3 hours in fishing is like 5 minutes, and you know, it just seems to go. You know, I mean, I've been out the first few nights, and you go down a few pools, and you get excited because you've seen the first fish of the season, and you look at your Christ, do they have 2-3 o'clock at work in the morning? So, but I mean, most of the time I'm out till middle of the season, probably 1:30ish, 2 o'clock. You know, first few times you're probably out a lot more because you're that buzzing and you've seen fish moving in and you want to get your first ones under your belt, and so you're out. You know, yeah, I don't fish much through till dawn. I've been going
People
home.
say it's, you know, only really the first hour or so of darkness.
Yeah,
is-
it can
is
it
worth
can, it
fishing.
can be. Yeah, but it's yeah.
I think you just need to change your tactics.
Yeah.
After the first hour, go bigger
Yeah.
flies and
Go deeper.
yeah, or sort of bigger target for them.
Yeah.
Do you think the tube fly is something that's particularly attractive to the larger fish, or it doesn't make any difference?
I've certainly had better fish on the tube. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that's because it's covering more water. Because my droppers are generally that far apart. So I mean, on the Clwyd, you haven't got, you know, the Cranston River's only meets the wall in some places, so you haven't got half of it's going to be just dead water where the fish aren't going to be lying. So you've only got maybe 5-6 foot of fishable water, and you know, so yeah, your dropper is probably just covering a little bit of water. I mean, if you've got a big pool, you're going to have a chance of both your flies, but I think the tubes or my point fly generally get more fish on that most of the time. You know, but it doesn't really, you know. I mean, when I started using them, the first few times I started using tube flies, I was getting better fish on them, but you know, you'll still catch a little. You know, I mean, sometimes at night you get little tiny brownies that'll go for it as well. You know, so it doesn't really matter on, you know, the size of the fish you sort of catch. And I think a tube fly, it's a good fly to use in the sense of, you know, you can get like Waddington shanks, which are good heavier flies to get down a bit, but they're a bit like toby spinners. I mean, if any of you use toby spinners, they're great attractors for salmon and that, but they can lose quite a lot of fish because it's like a metal bar, and once the hook goes in, if it's not, you know, if it's halfway in its mouth, it can lever the hook out. Once it turns, it's pulling. With a tube fly, generally, if you get a decent fish on it, the tube will come up the line, and you're just left with the hook in its mouth, so there's nothing to lever the hook out. And if, you know, if you've gone to the trouble of tying them, and you dink the hook on the rock, or it gets snagged and anything, you can just change the hook, you haven't lost all your fly then, which is what I like, because I don't like tying too many flies.
Would you ever use a sub line?
I don't know. No, I never do. Yeah, I never.
Even in the deep pools?
No, never do. Yeah, I'll just put I mean, some of the tubes I've got, I'll show you, I've put little cone heads on them just to get down a little bit, but half the time I'll just chuck it out and just wait for it to sink for a start, you know, for a start retrieving it. Yeah, it's
You make it sound so easy.
no, you know, a sinking line would be more awkward to fish with, I think, personally, because you don't, you know, with a floating line, you can sort of pick it out even though it's dark. You can pick out in the water where it's coming round. You can see it, you know.
You do better with a sink tip
The sink tips are nice, yeah. Nice.
if you want to get down with the line and Shaun will be leaving.
Yeah. And I think if you're wading a little bit in the rivers, not so much on the Clwyd mine, but bigger rivers with a sinking line, you probably as well to use a line tray, because once you've stripped it in, the line's in and down the water then, and it's harder to get your cast going again then. You know.
Is that a weight forward line?
Yeah.
that you
Weight forward,
only
yeah, I always
use?
use weight forward, yeah. It loads
Yeah.
the rod quicker for you. You can feel
Yeah.
it working better, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're only casting a few yards of line, really.
Yeah.
So.
When you say use 6-weight rod, do you put a 6-weight line on it, or do you put
Yeah.
7 through it? You don't put
No,
a
6-weight.
Some guys will put 1 line or 2 lines heavier through
Yeah.
their rod, for the simple, but you got less line off your rod tip, and you can feel it in the load of your rods.
Yeah.
But Rio lines, that's why I generally pick Rio lines, because they're normally a little bit heavier weight
On the heavy end of the range.
than other 6-weight lines, yeah.
So we go back to daytime tactics. You say you don't really fish much, like first light dawn, you don't tend to stay for that.
Not really, no, I've done a couple of times, but
Yeah.
working more than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do sometimes, but what I will do, the books say, oh, go back to the dawn, small flies again. But I will do it, and they've saved a few nights, but I won't fish when I've been fishing all night. It's almost like a reverse again. I'll go somewhere that's been left alone all night. You know, you might have fished, they've sat there safe all night and not be bothered. Go for them. If you sort of fish dawn where you've been fishing, it's never really worked for me. I go somewhere completely new for the last 40 minutes or so before going on. Do that. Tends to work for me. So, you got any tactics for daytime fly fishing on a dropping water now?
Yeah, I mean, if I fish in the day, I hardly fish the Clwyd. Well, I don't, to be honest. I generally go on the Elwy then when it's, you know, because it's a clearer running river, and once it's been up a foot or two and the muck's gone out of it, you get a nice dark tea colour. And yeah, you can pick up sea trout in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'll get up early in the morning because we live not far from the shop, so I'll get up and fish through the town. Be some cracking runs in there,
Yeah.
some good pools in there. To be fair, if you get up early, and, you know, if the water's just right, you can get, you know, you can get 2 or 3. I've had 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes before work, just fishing mainly salmon flies then, like a bright orange cascade or a alley shrimp or something like that. Just something they can see a bit better in the coloured water.
Yeah, especially with PT on it.
Yeah, for PT, yeah. But yeah, and the same line and
Yeah,
thing
same
sets up,
setup.
yeah, just a little sink tip on it just to get it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So a fly with like copper in, is it like a, what do they call that one?
Dunkel.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
Dunkel would be a good, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some with a gold
Copper
or
in it.
silver body with a bright orange, you know,
Yeah.
deer head, a bobtail
Oh yeah, yeah.
tail on it, you know, just like a shrimp, like a salmon shrimp fly. Yeah, something like that. Or a goat's toe has been a good one. We've had some good afternoons at Kevin, haven't we, with it on a little goat's toe with a bright orange fluorescent tag in it. That's been a good fly on the dropper.
Yeah.
You know, it's been,
A friend of mine used a goat stone to drop her up all night, all
Yeah.
night. That's what he can use.
yeah. I never use it at night, but
No,
in the day when it's
it don't look like much, does it? But it,
yeah, in the day when you see it a little bit better.
What size flies do you in the day then?
It's normally about an 8 double. You know, I never really use many tube flies in the day. I think if they're there running, I mean running fish are generally up in the water anyway. They're not running on the bottom of the river. They're generally up higher a bit more in the river. So, you know, you don't need to go down. You know, you don't need to go down too deep for them. If they're fresh fish and they're running, they'll come up for a fly. But as long as it's not too bright a day, mind. Yeah, so you don't need too big a fly, just a size 8 double, a little sink tip just to get it down a little bit.
Same applies to dropper, size 8 is it?
I'll fish a smaller fly on the dropper, mind. Yeah, just edge me bets for for some small sea trout if they're running up a bit. Like I say, that goat's toe is I never use it at night, but it's one I've sort of used in the day on the Elwy, and I've caught a couple of fish on it. So I've always put it on because it gets you some nice brownies as well. You know, if there's nothing running, you can pick up some nice brownies on it. Because they tend to come out more as well when the river's up a little bit.
Any more questions on daytime? Fly fishing.
So the bit that we have at like Roe Park, that's quite close, isn't it, to where you're saying on the Elwy, so that would be suitable for daytime.
Just through the town water and.
Well, I think it starts below the A55 bridge.
Yeah, well, anywhere down there, yeah.
And down towards the Gypsy Lane.
That's
So
it.
that would be suitable for the daytime.
Yeah, well, if the water's right, yeah, if it's up, if it's holding, you know,
Yeah.
a foot and a half or something like that, but clearing, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice then. Yeah.
So if it's really chocolatey, the water, then it's too high. You're looking.
It's a bit too high for flight. You might get them on a spinner, you know,
So
but
you're looking for it to drop. So it's.
you want to drop it just so you can see your
Yeah.
foot through it or something like that. Yeah.
See a foot through about
Yeah.
right.
Do you take any notice at all of the tide?
Not really.
No.
No, I don't think it makes. You know, once the fish are in the river, it's, you know, I think if you fish in the bottom beats, then fair enough. You know, the junction beats and the driven down below. It will alter it then. But I think once they're in the river, it's, you know, I've never really looked at that and go into all that. You know, if they're there, they're there.
You're either going or you're not.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Yeah, if you're gonna go, yeah. I mean, I generally go like, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. Once I'm going and the fish are there, can't sit at home at night.
So if you were only given 2 weeks holiday a year,
Yeah.
not like your current employer who's very kind and generous, I see, which 2 weeks would you book off?
The sea tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
March, I'm going.
Probably early July, I would say. Yeah, through July. Last year I started, I think it was about the 15th of June when the first night I went out, and there was fish running then, and I caught quite a nice fish that first night, and that was it. And it was.
So that was is that the earliest you tend to go out mid-June?
That's when I started. I started last year. I haven't been out yet this year. I haven't started yet. I've been tempted to go out a few nights, but just other things come up. But there should be, you know, they've got to be running now. I would think. Not many, but there's got to be fish in the river now.
By mid-June on the club, you can be pretty confident. You've got a chance of swinging them over.
I think July, and you know, so the back end of July and August are probably, you know, the best months for a lot of fish in the river. But you'll get your better fish, I think, earlier in the year, and fresher fish. You know, if they're fresher, they'll take better as well.
When do you, right through into September, fishing at
I don't fish too late, really. I mean, you'll still catch them, they're there, but they're getting a bit stale and a bit coloured up, so it's, I've normally had enough by then. Only so many late nights you can do.
During the daytime, would you, for fishing for the sea trout, would you concentrate on the pools or the streamier water?
The streamier water generally, yeah, more in the runs, because your chance of getting salmon then, see, as well, and they'll generally be in, you know, well, I find they're generally more, you know, like I said,
On your dropper, would you dribble it on top of the water, or would you try and keep it down?
I'd keep it down a little bit, yeah. I normally have a sink tip on anyway, so it'll go down a little bit, yeah. But yeah, normally in the runs where you've got a nice little bit of pull through it. A lot of the pools tend to be a bit, on the Elway they're not too bad because they tend to be, you know, your fly will swing round most of the time, unless it's a big pot of a pool and your line's swirling round, and you can't fish the fly the same, you're better off spinning it then. But if you get a nice glide, a nice run down, you know, so deep of water, it's just, your fly's covering all the width of the river then, so you know, because the fish could be on the far bank. If you're fishing on the inside of a bend and it is in flood a little bit, they generally probably be creeping away on the inside of the bend, out of the stronger water. You know, so you can pick them up quite close sometimes like that.
Is it worth fishing during the daytime when the water is low?
You can. There's a chap coming in the shop last year and he was catching quite a lot on dry flies, sea trout, little ones. He wasn't fishing for sea trout, he was fishing for trout, but he was fishing really early in the morning, like, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. He was getting up and going out, and every time he'd come in he'd say he'd had a couple of sea trout on little dries. So they will feed on, you know, I mean, you know, I think with salmon people think they don't really feed much in, but I think sea trout do. They will take, you know, I've caught them myself. I've gone for an afternoon with my little 3-weight rod and caught, you know, a nice little sea trout, £1.5, just come up for a little size 14 dry fly, just whacked it off the top.
So it's worth giving it a try during the day.
It can be, yeah, but then it's, if you're quiet enough, you know, that's the thing. I mean, I generally wear little knee pads on my waders in the day for fishing for trout, so I'm down on my knees, you know, quite stealthy and creeping away along the river, so I'm not frightening, because once you stand up, they'll be gone. Yeah. But so if you're pretty quiet, you can still get them, you know. Most of them will be tucked under the thing. I mean, that was that was a fish that was just laid in the tail of a pool, just off a little bit of a, you know, there was a lot of willow hanging over it, and it was just laid about 1 foot or 2 out from the willow. So there could have been other fish tucked under there, and that one got pushed to the back, I don't know, but it was there. Yeah. So you can get them in the day, mind you. Probably better if you're targeting sea trout. You might be better with a worm. You probably cover more water with a worm, but yeah, fly fishing tonight.
Any advice on safety, comfort for night fishing? Do you wear glasses at night?
I don't wear glasses at night. Should do probably, but I don't. Yeah.
I tend to wear glasses at night.
Yeah.
Do on the combi.
Yeah. I suppose on the, you use them on the combi, don't you? Yeah. I suppose with a longer cast, you've got more. If it's windy and you get a lot of line out, you're doing a longer cast, then you're more likely. There's more chance to come back into your eye, isn't it? But I think on the Clwyd it's such a short cast. A couple of false casts and it's across. And I never do that. I don't wear a life jacket.
No.
So do a wading stick with you?
No.
You know,
No, I
would you
don't.
prefer to stay out the river, do you?
Yeah. I might get in just a little bit on the edge, just to get me line in the water, so your line's not covered in muck.
Yeah.
Because your line, once it gets low, it can get.
But you know the pool anyway, don't you? So you
I'll know that. Yeah. It's knowing the pool.
and where to cross. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Isn't it?
Like water.
Yeah, I mean waders handy just for crossing. Crossing the river, because some of the beach you've got to cross to fish the better side. So yeah, it's handy to have waders in it for that.
It's fair to say you catch your fair share of fish.
Yeah.
Is that because, do you think that's because of your choice of flies and the fact that you know the river very well, or do you think that is down to the fact that you treat them as if you were stalking a rabbit?
Yeah.
You are very stealthy.
Yeah.
You keep away from the bank, you go round the river.
Keeping quiet, walking really quiet, I think, and if I get to a point, I'm creeping along, trying not to stand on anything like branches and stuff. And just little things that just make, I think they just make, fishing it's a little things. We all go with a rod and line and whatever, but it's little things I think that just make a little bit of
Wild
difference.
animals at the end.
It is, yeah, it is, and you've got to treat them. You've got to get to that river as if, to them they think nothing else. They don't think any different.
Yeah.
Once they've got something in their mind that they're frightened or whatever, then yeah. It's like us, if you feel frightened or threatened, you don't feel like eating anything.
Oh, I don't know.
Sort of, as a PBO.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would just say, if you haven't done much night fishing, give it a go. I would take a flask and a chocolate bar. You go to enjoy yourself. If you're feeling a bit downhearted or a bit, don't lose hope. Just stop for 10 minutes, have a brew, enjoy it. Cause don't get disheartened. It doesn't come easy. Once you start getting a bit successful, you get more successful. You know what I mean? It's all about confidence. It's all about confidence.
Try and pick a spot as well where the cows aren't going to come down and drink just as it's going dark.
Yeah.
You've only been waiting there for about an hour.
Yeah, you can't stop.
Pick a spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I would recommend safety glasses at night. Clear, obviously. It's not like during the day. If you do use safety glasses at night, really look after them. You get a bit of a scratch on a safety glass. If you use them at night, it annoys the hell out of you. In the day, you can get away with scuffed Polaroids. During the night, you need your peripheral vision so much, it really annoys you. A little bit of a scuff mark on them, drive you insane. So, but you only got 2 eyes, haven't you? You're flinging hooks around. If you suddenly start fishing droppers after tonight, just take care of yourselves. And a hat's good as well. Protect yourself.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Torch.
Torch,
You've got
yeah.
water, yeah?
Yeah, keep well back from the bank. Yeah, if you're going to change your flies, get
I'll
right
make
up.
friends, lamp in the water, yeah.
Yeah, get right up on the bank.
It's not only yourself, don't only fishing to service other anglers.
It's you got.
around
Yeah, I mean, even though
around the corner,
if no one's there when you're there, and you're walking back up the beach, it's no good walking right up beside the river with your head on, your head sort of jump looking at the floor, because there could be other anglers coming. So yeah, you've got to treat it as
Get a head
for them
torch.
as well, and keep well back from. If I'm walking back up the beach, I'll just walk right out in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Generally,
Torch off.
Yeah,
Don't need it to
I don't need it on. Yeah, you don't need. Yeah,
Soon.
I mean, if you're going through wood fair, some of the beach, you've got to go through wood fair enough. But
If you get a head torch with a red light, a lot come like that now.
yeah,
Red light's quite good. So if you're stuck in a tight spot and you've got to change something, you can do that. It doesn't spook them quite as much. The spook, if you're right over deep water, it'll show up your silhouette. That'll spook fish. But generally, if you're tucked in a bit of a shallow, the red light's not so bad. You'll see little fish dart from it, but they see your silhouette. But generally, white light, no. Keep well away. You'll spook.
I think it's fair to say get down there early as well, so your eyes become accustomed to the dark.
exactly. Yeah, and it's getting in a nice routine as well. With casting. Yeah. If you struggle with with your casting, if you're new to it and you never fly fish, it's worth getting lessons and that to get your casting right. Because once you start getting in a bit,
Finding a decent casting instructor.
There's only one.
yeah.
There's only one or two about. Not many of them.
It's, no, it makes all the difference. If you start getting, I mean, I've had nights, where you just can't get going. You have to put your torch on sometimes to set your leader up and whatever. I normally have 3 or 4 leaders set up, so again, I can just literally loop them without me torch on, I can just put a leader on and know what it is. I can tie my flies on that little knot. I'll show you. And you know, because if you had your torch on for 5 minutes, you look up again and think, your night vision just goes, and then the next cast you think, you know, chuck it across, it's in the tree, and you're out again, and you just get in a bad, you know.
Well, getting the red light's quite good for that. It doesn't give you much vision, but if you're going to change, you don't lose your night vision. Anything like it.
And false casting to get out.
Don't need
Less.
to.
No, just a couple more.
Yeah.
Do you fish only where you can overhead cast, or do you fish pools where you can only roll?
I don't roll cast at night. It's too noisy. No, it's too noisy.
You fish
Really.
pools where you can do an overhead cast?
Yeah, generally, yeah. Or if you know, if you've got trees hanging over behind you, again, it's knowing the beat, knowing where's behind you as well.
Oh yeah.
You want to throw the line up and get it under the trees, and you know. But I don't normally roll cast at you know at night.
Yeah, but use a steeple cast.
No, I never. No, most of the pools I'll fish, I've generally gone and cleared them myself and got it right for, you know, so you know when you get there, there's no. Yeah, you're not going to get hanged up in trees and get stuck. You know. Everything's, you know, the least you're on the bank doing knots and tying flies on, the better. You know, the more time fishing.
You saw branches down occasionally, small branches to make the
Big ones.
Big ones, yeah.
Not the
And
nice
small ones. Yeah. No, if they're in the way, it's you could have a branch, you know, that thin. If it's just hanging in the way, and generally they're right where you want to bloody be. So it's
Especially willow.
Yeah.
So you cut those down, would you?
Yeah.
Well before.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
You don't want to go cutting branches where fish are lying. You can.
No, you don't want to
as
cut
well.
all the cover, mind. Yeah, you want to leave
You
it.
have to be able to cast
yeah.
a bit. Simple spay cast. Roll cast is slow because you're not lying in the water and you can't change direction much. But a very simple spay cast will get you tight places quite well. And it keeps everything away from you for a safe cast at night.
So if you were doing the daytime fishing after the water was dropping for sea trout,
Yeah.
and you wanted to try for salmon as well, would you have to know where the salmon lies are, or would you just cover the same pools?
Just cover the set, yeah, and any, you know, they could be anywhere really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, generally they're going to be in the main pools and in the runs.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So if I was going on the beat, I'd just cover every little bit where I think there could be one. There could be one there laid up behind the rock, or.
Because it could be anywhere on
They could, yeah.
Well,
it's,
on the Clwyd, you just fish everywhere.
You just fish,
don't
yeah.
You? That's the thing,
Yeah.
you know.
2 foot of water, there could be a fish.
Yeah.
If you can cast to it, cover it.
Yeah, no, it's worth covering every little bit really if you can.
Because there's plenty you can cast to.
Yeah.
Right, any more questions? Shaun's going to tell you some flies in a minute.
We fished the upper D last season,
Yeah.
end of July, June, July, around there. The river was absolutely heaving with fish.
Where was that?
On the upper D, above Cornwall really.
All right, yeah.
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 Honestly,
All right.
every bloody method you mentioned now that we've tried there,
Right.
and last they would not take.
Yeah. Well, Gwyn was
I
covered.
don't know,
Yeah.
some people say that it's down to that they're letting water from the Bar Lake, and then it's cooling the river.
Yeah, I mean, I think it affects the.
But there was hundreds of fish.
Yeah.
You might go there one night, you might fish 11 till 2, 3 o'clock, and
Yeah.
I'll take them. All of a sudden, boom, they'll come on
Yeah.
for half an hour, but
Yeah.
most nights they would not take.
Yeah, I don't know with the water. I mean, I think it affects the grayling certainly and the trout if you're fishing for them. But I don't know about. I don't really fish. I mean, I'm in the same syndicate. Is it Gwerthlas syndicate?
That's it.
Yeah, I'm in the same syndicate. But I don't go there much. I should do. But, yeah, but it's with having this river on your doorstep. I mean, I can be home in 5 minutes. So it's it's.
You can't beat yourself up with sea trout because I know that the small ones will take. They're not really eating, and you have that dry weather like last year, real hot in the day. They're turned off. You go down like the Dovey stuffed with fish. You don't have a job to get a pole line. There's hundreds of fishing poles, so it's not just there or particularly low last year when it was well hot weather.
It could be English speaking sea trout in the as well, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I think when they let that water out of the Kelly, it does
Changes it.
freezing cold.
Yeah.
You know.
With the Clwyd, would you read Folks's book or would you go for Mockmorley?
Neither.
I've never read any of it, to be honest. I must admit, but God, finally, yeah.
I do on the Welsh
Because
boat.
what's more, not sorry, Vulture's book is more on a spate river.
It is,
similar
yeah,
to the Elwy.
yeah.
When it's clear.
I think some of his
Clear.
methods are, you know, I mean, he tends to use a lot of like the blue, you know, like his
Yeah.
sun glue and that. But
It's very
yeah.
clear, low, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different river. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fluid's always carrying colour, it's a different beast altogether.
Yeah.
Do you strike, or do you just let them hook themselves?
No, they're just on, and that's, yeah. I think because you're figuring of 8 in it, you know, you sort of, you know, once they take it, they're just on. Yeah, I don't really, you know, forget about them, not like ripping.
You don't?
No.
I-
It just tightens up and lift
Yeah.
into it.
If I do it all, I go to the side, my side, which is the side I'm standing on.
Yeah.
If you go up, you can pull it off them.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it does come out, if you pull it to the side and it comes out, your fly's generally not going to come flying out of the water. But if you strike quick and it does come out, and your fly's up in the tree, if you're fishing a bit where it's a bit, you know, you've got a canopy of trees over you. You know, it's,
Well, somebody, I know somebody, quite a successful sea trout fisherman. He says he never strikes.
no.
He said they're only very knows it.
Yeah, it is. It's still, yeah. I mean, at night you can't. In the day, you can sometimes see the lines just starting to, especially with salmon, they'll take it a bit slower. You see your lines start to tighten up. But at night, you know, they're just, I think they're just on, and that's, yeah. That's
You
it.
talk about retrieving your fly nearly all the time.
Yeah.
Even in a traditional run.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, if the river's up a bit,
Yeah.
I'll just let it. As long as there's enough pull, I'll let it swing
Yeah.
round. If it'll come round at the speed I want it to, I'll just leave it. But at night fish, if you're fishing at night, you're generally going to be fishing when the river's pretty low and clear. You know, I mean, the Elwy you can fish it a little bit when it's up a bit, as long as the muck's gone out of it. But generally you're fishing it low and clear, and the river's not got that much pace in it. So
Get on to do the work.
yeah, and you know, if you're fishing, your main run generally on the far side under the trees, and then it's shelving up towards you halfway through the river most of the time. So you know, if you're not pulling your flies and you let them sink, they just get hanked up on the bottom, or they'll get stuck halfway through. You're spoiling the points on your fly, and you know. So I most of the time I'll chuck it across, leave it sink a little bit depending on the depth of the pool, and just start retrieving it more or less straight away.
And also, retrieving doesn't have to be flat out. It can be as fast as you want it to be.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah, it doesn't
generally.
mean stripping, does it?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Even in quite a
just-
quick
just
run, I
keeping
will
it,
still
yeah.
really slow figure 8 just to make sure I'm in contact. Because if you have a slap, like a run,
Yeah,
you'll get a bit
barely.
loose and stuff. Just keep it just more confident. Then you're on it, and then like you say, fish takes it there. You don't have to pick up slack line or react to a splash.
When I do these sort of figure of 8, frequently what happens is if I get a bite or anything, I end up with a tangle or a knot or something like that.
Do you keep the line in your hand though?
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, I never do. See, I just figure out and let it drop.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Right.
just let it drop to my feet. Yeah, because if you got it in a bunch, it's more risky of it getting.
Yeah.
If you keep it in your hand, you've got to be good at the figure of 8, so it is like a pack of 8.
Yeah.
I'm scruffy, I have to drop it or stuff.
Yeah, I do. I just drop mine to the floor.
Do you use that not perfect stuff on your knots? I've used that before.
No.
And then I found that the knots never comes undone, you know, like on a tuck lip knot, because it tightens
Yeah.
it.
No, I've never used
Tightens
that.
it much more than...
Yeah. I'll show you the little knot. I'll
Like,
show you the
yeah.
little knot, and it's,
Oh, yeah.
I've never had it. You know, I've never
Yeah.
had it come undone on me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you can cut it quite tight as well. It's
Oh,
a,
yeah,
you know, you don't use as much line when you do tying it onto a dropper.
yeah.
It's a very little, you know, nice, neat little knot, and you can tie it so you're not using, you know, you're not cutting a lot of tag end off or wasting a lot
And
of
you know
line.
when you haven't got it right because it comes straight off.
Yeah, if you tie it at night and you pull it, you think, oh, I got it, and then you pull it and it just slips. Yeah, you haven't quite got it.
If it's wrong, you know straight away.
You know straight away. It's not like it's going to sort of hold a bit and then pull off on a fish. It's once it's on, it's.
You ever use these leader rings?
Yeah, I do. That's what I
Yeah.
use. Yeah. I never used to. I used to tie me, you know, tie like a double, a 3-2 water knot for my dropper. But then if you're using your dropper and it's getting shorter, you've got to tie a full
Yeah. So you
leader
change
then
droppers
to get your
into-
dropper. So I just use a little tiny ring, and if you do need to tie a dropper, just 6-8 inches off it. And it saves you a lot of time doing a full.
Do you ever try those hook links? I find them useful if I'm changing the fly.
Oh, the little
quite a bit.
snap hooks?
Yeah, any good or?
No, I don't.
You
I never
no?
use them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I.
I don't think it has much effect on the fly.
I don't know if I
anyway,
trust
but-
them or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've thought about it, but I thought, no,
Yeah.
I'll just tie. Yeah, tie.
You know, you fish cat willy down the pool with that.
Yeah.
Just going back to your leader setup again. What poundage do you use for the two?
For me choose.
Yeah,
£13.
13 and
Yeah.
down to
Well, I use 15 from my fly line to
Yeah.
to the first
And
to
then
me
30.
first ring,
Right.
and then £13 for the dropper,
Yeah.
and £13 to the point.
And about 8 foot in total.
Yeah.
It's I normally
Not the same.
Not
stretch
too long.
out. I normally stretch out that to me
Yeah.
from my fly line to me dropper, and then do
That's about 3, yeah.
that much to me, whatever that is, that much to me point.
Yeah.
And what's your favourite brand of Valero?
Cigar. Yeah, it's a saltwater fluorocarbon. So
Yeah.
it's a bit stiffer anyway,
Yeah.
so it's better for turn.
Yeah.
Even though I'm using quite a lightish
The
rod.
reverse is quite stiff as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and most fluorocarbons
Yeah,
are. They're
yeah.
generally a bit stiffer than like Maxima is quite a soft. It's a good line,
Yeah,
don't get
yeah.
me wrong. It's a lot of people use it. It's a good reliable
Yeah.
line.
For ease of use, nylon's much nicer, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Seaga's very good because it's very resistant to abrasive, resistant to
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a multi-filament
yeah.
strand, so the clue's quite snaggy. It's
Yeah.
not a bad choice at all.
Mm.
You pay a bit more for Sega, but it's worth every penny.
That strength flag as well, to be able to pull it out of weed. If you catch
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
it
Yeah, you're not
pull,
leaving
yeah.
flies hanging up
It
and
will snap. If you don't pull it
yeah,
out.
you got a chance of getting them back. Then,
You're using barbless, so you've got still got the barbless.
No, I wouldn't use that for sea trout. I do for me trout, but yeah, they're hard enough to catch as it is, and they can get off quite easy on the barbed hook. So yeah. Like, as long as you're careful getting the hook out, and they don't really take it down that deep. They don't have time to do that. So you might get the odd one that'll really whack it. More so on surface flies, they can they either have it or they don't. When they have it, they can be hooked a bit deeper, but generally they're not too bad.
You mentioned the length of leader that you use.
Yeah.
What's the shortest length you'd use?
That probably is a shorter. Really, I wouldn't really go any shorter than that. As it like the distance for me droppers, or
Well, the distance from the end of your fly lines where your tip fly is. What's the shortest?
it's that length. I normally just stretch it out like that. So what's that?
2.5.
2.5 foot
From the end of your fly line.
from the end of my fly line to my first fly
To
to
your
my
first
dropper.
fly.
To me dropper fly.
Yeah. And then how much after that?
Yeah. I never measured it, just whatever, yeah.
That's as short as
You have to be careful with that because that's a metric arm as well.
Yeah. It's that big.
That's the shortest you'd use.
Yeah, I wouldn't go any shorter. I think if your fly's too close, I always think I don't want the fish to see the two flies at the same time.
Yeah, you want to
Type of thing. Yeah. I think if they got choice of flies, it might just make them think which one, and then it's gone. So they're gone. So I
Years ago, when I was learning fly fishing, like about 20, 30 years ago at Tallyman, there was a guy there called Ray who used to sort of work there and teach people to fish, and he used to fish with buzzers, with like about some enormous leader, like 15 foot or 18 foot, and he said the longer the leader, the more likelihood you are to catch. Or something.
Yeah, with trout certainly I would say, especially on places like that. Yeah. For sea trout, it doesn't matter too. Salmon. It doesn't matter too much.
It has to be practical, doesn't it? On the fluid, I shouldn't go short than 7 foot.
Yeah.
Or much longer than.
If it starts getting too long, the trouble is then with it being a short river, you're not getting you struggle to turn it over, and you're not getting as much fly line out then to.
But you still
to load the
you
rod.
say to use as long a leader as you can, like you say, that length. Don't go shorter than that.
I wouldn't go any
You still
shorter
need
than that
a
really,
certain
yeah.
length.
Because you're getting too close to your fly line then as well, and doesn't see your fly
And
line.
if you go too long, you'll never be able to cast it.
Oh no, yeah.
But even like the bigger rivers, 9 foot at night's plenty long enough. Beyond that, you'd control it at night and under your rod tip and fighting fish.
And could you go shorter leader on a surface lure, because if it made it easier to cast, it would
you could do if you could do, I suppose. Yeah, I just tend to take the dropper off gently and fish it. Yeah.
So you'd leave your link.
I'd leave my link on, but just leave
So
the
you
dropper
just-
hanging, but just cut the fly off it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, just leave the dropper. I don't tie another setup for it. I have got, if I can be bothered, I will. I have got like a nylon tapered leader, which is like a saltwater tapered leader, which is really stiff, really thick at the butt end of it, and that tapers down to £15, and then I put a little bit of line on the end of that. If I was going to fish a floating fly a lot, I would probably put that on, but
So you've still got
half the time, for the sake of getting out and changing it all, I'll just.
So you've still got your sink. Your
I've still got my sink
line,
tip, but it doesn't on these. I mean, if it was a bigger river, I'd probably take that off.
Yeah.
Because it's going to start pulling the fly. On these rivers, it's not that wide enough. By the time the flies come round, your tip hasn't had a chance to to pull it under that much. And like I say, it doesn't really matter if it does pull it under a bit.
What about a poly leader? Any?
Yeah, I used to use poly leaders all the time, and then I went over to like a 5 foot poly leader. The salmon ones, mine. I don't use the trout ones. The trout ones are too thin to. If you use the small flies, fair enough, but the trout ones are a 24-pound breaking strain through them, so they're better for kicking the fly over. You'll see a hell of a difference between the two.
Yeah.
You know, the trout ones are 12-pound breakers, which is enough breaking strain, but they're very thin on the end, so they don't tend to kick over the same.
So maybe a hover or intermediate one?
A slow sinker.
Slow sinker.
Yeah, it's not so much to get it down that much, it's just to take a little bit of wake off the line as it's coming round. But after you buying a line with a sink tip built into it, the difference is again a lot better. You don't get any hinging. You don't get any hinging on the loops.
Any preference on colour of the fly line? Or you
the line I use, I'll show you, is bright yellow.
Oh, right, so
it's bright yellow with a clear 3 foot tip on the end of it. Doesn't really matter, I can see that, and I can see it myself coming around.
It's that presentation thing again, isn't it? You've got giving yourself every chance at that.
Is there one called a ghost tip?
Yeah, it's basically that's what it is. It's the ghost tips are generally clear tip lines.
Oh, right, so that's different manufacturers make.
Cortland call theirs a ghost tip.
Ghost tip is a type of fly line.
Yeah, it's a clear tip generally. And you can get them in 3 foot, 5 foot, 10, 15. But I mean, if you're fishing, you fish the dubbies out here, you'd probably use a longer tip, maybe to get down a bit more.
To attach those to the fly line, or are they already part of the fly line?
You can buy them already. They're already moulded in. The fly line's got it built into it. You can buy, if you just buy a full floater, you can buy a clear intermediate tip to go on it. But then they start to hinge where you loop to loop connection. It starts to hinge a little bit when you're casting.
If it's part of your fly line, it's designed for that. It's all balanced. The other ones work fine, but if you're going to buy one for the job,
it gives you more choice with a floating line, and you could have. I mean, I used to carry, quite a lot of sink tips in my waistcoat. I'd have like 4 different sink rates in it. Never used most of them really, but they were there if I needed to change it. They're a bit more awkward to cast, but it gives you a bit more choice for what you want to do with the fly and how far you want to get it down.
So the ghost tip just gives you more distance. It's clear between the fly line and the fly.
And it sinks a little bit. They sink about 1.5 to 2.5 inches a second, which isn't a lot on the river, because by the time it's pulled it round, it rides it up a little bit. But it just takes a bit of the wake off the fly line as well, which can maybe make a little bit of disturbance. I mean, some guys, Max Coventry fishes Conway a lot, doesn't he? He uses like a hover line, which is a very slow sinking line, but it doesn't really sink that. It's literally just under the surface, and he quite likes that just for just some presence of the line being on the water. But that's on a bigger river. See, on these rivers they're narrow, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Drink stop, I reckon.
Yeah. Any more? Thank you. We'll have a drink, and then Shaun will show us his knots and his flies.